This is Allison with Green Goddess Plants and Seeds, and welcome to today's garden chat. So I just wanted to give you guys a peek out into my my tiny little greenhouse. I've actually moved a few things out here for today. Today and tomorrow are supposed to be really nice days. The forecast for tomorrow, I believe, is a high of 15 degrees Celsius, so that's quite nice. However, the forecast for later in the week is for a bit of a spring storm, and the temperatures are supposed to drop. I think I saw a forecast for a low of minus 15 degrees Celsius for Wednesday. So yeah, that's the way it is here in these northern gardens, right? But you know, that's okay. I do have a small heater in my greenhouse, which has been working quite well. I've turned it off at the moment because it's quite warm in the greenhouse with both the sun shining on it and the heater. It's almost up to 25 degrees in here, so that's plenty warm. I haven't decided yet if I'll leave anything out overnight tonight. Probably not. I'll probably bring everything in just to be cautious. But definitely everything will be brought in for Monday, Tuesday, just because, you know, my little space heater, it's good till about minus 10, and it'll keep things in here, you know, at around the plus 5 degree mark when it's minus 10 outside. So that's good, but probably below that, it's not gonna do the job to keep it from freezing in here. So I just wanted to give you a quick peek of what I've got out here. Don't know if you can see this. Just turn my phone a little bit. I got some basil seedlings. They are a little bit stretched, but that's okay. Some of that can be fixed when I transplant them. And then over here are my pepper transplants. And I've got more to go in the greenhouse. And I was debating, I actually did bring out my tomato seedlings. I don't know if I can try and get the camera in there to show you my tomato seedlings. Again, they are kind of stretched, but with tomatoes, you can easily correct the stretchiness when you transplant them, because they are a plant that will definitely benefit from being planted really deep. And then that way, that kind of helps to correct the legginess, but also helps them encourage them to send out roots, because you do want healthy roots. So this is my greenhouse, and we're going to go back in the house in just a bit, and I'm going to be planting up some petunias and some other flower seeds today. Okay, so here we are back in my messy kitchen, starting some more seeds. So today I'm doing flower seeds. I've got a whole bunch of petunias and marigolds and a few other things that I want to start today. So yeah, as you can see, it's a nice day out in the greenhouse. One of the things about gardening that I've noticed over the number of years that I have been gardening is that you become very aware of the weather and the weather patterns and stuff like that. It's kind of goes hand in hand with being a gardener. So, you know, if you're new to gardening, it's something that you do need to pay attention to. Like right now, when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I check the temperature. Second thing I do is I go out and I check the temperature in the greenhouse. What is it? Is it above freezing? Is the heater still running, or has the heater, you know, stopped running? Because that's important at this time of year. If I'm decided to leave plants out, you know, I gotta know whether or not that heater's gonna work, right? So it kind of goes hand in hand with gardening, paying attention to the weather. Like, I'm not obsessed with it, but you know, you do have to be aware, you know. And something that I have noticed over the last 2 or 3 years is quite often we'll get really unusually warm temperatures, right in early May, end of April, early May, mid-May. And then after that, it gets cold. You know, June, July, August, you know, normally when we would get our hot weather are actually kind of cold. So it's something that I'm, you know, watching for again this year to see if that happens as well. But, you know, here in Saskatchewan and most northern gardening areas, the other thing that I've noticed that happens is usually in spring and fall, you'll see when it starts to warm up, what'll happen is the temperature will bottom out again. Like, things will start to warm up, things will start to melt a little bit, and then it'll get cold for, you know, 2 or 3 days, and then it'll warm up again, get a little bit warmer than it was before, and then it'll bottom out again with freezing temperatures. And I'll do that, you know, maybe 2-3 times, maybe 4 times, depending, before the temperatures really start to warm up and stay warm. So that is something else that I've noticed, and that you might want to pay attention to, is the weather wherever you're at, like, you know, what's going on with that. You know, even if you want to keep a part of your gardening journal, write down what the weather patterns are doing. So like I said, today I'm starting some petunias. So these are, I've got some Sugar Daddy petunias. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry for the glare. But for those who don't know, like, petunias are very popular. There's some fantastic varieties out there right now. Some of them you can't get seed for because they've been they're patented, so you can't buy seeds for them. But a lot of varieties you can. But if you've never grown petunias, the seed is like dust. And I don't think you can even see the seed in that package. But I'm going to try and see if I can get some out on my finger here. And it is like dust. It is very, very teeny tiny seed. And this stuff is loose. It's not pelleted. Sometimes, quite often, you'll find petunia seed will be pelleted. I don't think I can even show that to you. I don't know if you can see that in my hand. Probably not. There's probably too much glare. But it is like specks of dust. It is so small. So with this, I'm just going to put just a few in these cell packs. Just, you know, it's almost too hard to even try and separate them out because they're so small. Just a few like that. Get them into the cell pack, and then I probably won't actually cover them with soil. I'll probably just use the sprayer nozzle to water everything in, and that would be enough to cover. I'm just gonna make sure there's no extra seeds left in that package, because like I said, they are small. So that's the Sugar Daddy Petunia, and I've already got my tag ready. Tags are always important. I'm just gonna put my tag in there. Now the other variety that I've got here is it's called a Tickled Pink Climbing Petunia. So that's something I've never heard of. I think that's something that's brand new, I think. Climbing petunias, I've never heard of climbing petunias. So in this case, what they've done is they've pelleted the seed, and I'm hoping you can see that. So each one of those tiny, tiny seeds has a coating on it to make it easier to handle, which is nice. So if you can get pelleted seed, you know, go for it, because it is actually worth it. So sometimes they might charge a little bit more. Like, there's only 20 seeds in here, and I don't know, probably paid $8-9 for that. So they can be expensive, but that's all right. So in this case, since they are a little bigger to handle, I'm going to put one pellet in each cell pack. Just like that. There we go. One in each cell. I'll have to use a couple of cells here, a couple of packs here to get them all in. Oh, I think 2 might have gone in that one. That's okay. They can be separated out later when I'm transplanting them into my planters and stuff. So yes, it's been an up and down spring with the temperatures, but you know, the snow is going. The sun is shining. I think the high today is supposed to be plus 7 degrees Celsius. The high tomorrow is supposed to be like plus 15. But then they're forecasting a spring storm for Monday, so we'll see what happens with that. Oh, I think 2 got in there too. Oh well, that's all right. That's all right. We'll just do that. There we go. All right, so that's the Tickled Pink. And I'm probably gonna have to make another tag for those. I didn't do I used 3 cell packs, but only made 2 tags, so I'm gonna write out another tag here. So hope you guys are having a good year so far, you know, with all things considered. I know I'm very anxious to be out in the garden. I'm very anxious to be getting my hands into some soil and to be doing the whole planting and harvesting and, you know, just the general care and tending of the plants is something I enjoy, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the snow melting. we've had a few visitors in the back, even in the backyard here, in the city. I'm in the city right now, so I've seen, we have lots of urban hares in the city, and I know I've seen at least one of them or two of them come through the yard just this past week already, so it's kind of exciting, just kind of in a way to see them. Birds are being more active, you know, it's a good time, So the other thing that I'm starting here, I got more petunias to start. So these are a Super Cascade Blue. These are one of my favorite types of petunias. It's a Super Cascade Blue because the blue ones tend to be scented. Okay, if you're shopping for petunias, look for the blue ones and stick your nose in them because they actually do have a fragrance. And so those tend to be the ones that I plant, or the Super Cascade Blues. Because of that, because I like scented things in my garden, you know. As far as I'm concerned, you know, flowers are meant to be scented. And what happens a lot when they start developing all these new and wonderful varieties is that the scent, whatever the gene or the genetics for the scent gets bred out because they're looking for something else, you know, a different trait or whatever. But and that's unfortunate. It's really kind of unfortunate that they do breed out the scent out of the petunias because they are quite lovely. And so when I plant my flowers, or when I'm looking for flowers for the garden, I do try to choose stuff that is scented. And I've had people comment when they walk into my backyard, like, "Oh, it smells so nice back here." And well, it's probably because of all the scented petunias that I have planted everywhere, right? And I'll put them in everything, in all sorts different sizes of containers, big and small, and just kind of tuck them into different corners of the yard, you know. Okay, so here are the Cascade Blue. So these are pelleted seeds. I don't know if you can see that, but they've got a coating on them, so they're easier to handle. So I'm just going to pop that off, just like that. Oh, there's quite a few seeds in here. So I'm going to try and just pick them up one at a time this time, but that's okay. Like I said, if more than one goes into each cell, I can separate them out later. But so these trays are probably going to stay in the house, probably until late next week sometime, until the temperatures stabilize a bit more. Yeah, it's hard to believe that we're at the end of March already. Where does the time go? Oh my. Before you know it, it'll be the middle of the July and it'll be so hot we won't be able to stand it. But I'm really hoping for a good gardening year this year. Hoping for a good harvest. I'm hoping that the tomatoes actually get time to actually ripen this year. Last year they didn't. It was, you know, they got set back a bit out of the farm. And we planted them out, and then we had a couple of days of really, really super strong winds, and we didn't get them any protection set up for them in time. And so I actually thought I had lost most of the tomatoes. I thought they all died from being wind burned. But in the end, they all came back. They grew, they produced tomatoes, but because they were set back, they were probably a little bit later in setting fruit and that. And then, of course, we had a really early frost at the end of August last year, which meant we were pulling stuff out, you know, panicking, trying to pull stuff out, pull stuff off, trying to harvest before the frost. We covered what we could, but I don't know that it actually helped any, to be honest. I think some of it still suffered some damage, but that's okay. But I've got lots of stuff to plant. From here on in, I'm probably going to be planting stuff every day. Whoops. And if not every day, then at least a few times a week, because we got lots of stuff to plant, you know, for the market garden as well as for my own garden. You know, we're going to be planting, like, there's zucchinis and cucumbers and pumpkins and all manner of wonderful things to be planted out in the garden. All right, so there's some Super Cascade Blues already all planted up. So So that's what I'm doing today on my lovely Saturday afternoon, and I'll probably be doing this tomorrow, planting up more stuff. So I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, and until next time, take care.